one of the most radical steps a government can take to try to revive, to help struggling economy is quantitative easing. The goal is to flood the economy with money to stimulate spendings. It must be done with extreme caution because this policy has many side effects. The biggest one is high inflation. Quantitative easing is the direct opposite of quantitative tightening. The goal of quantitative tightening is to dry economy of money, to lower the inflation. Russia has just started doing something that is, I think that economic scientists could describe as economic schizophrenia. Russian central bank is doing both quantitative easing and quantitative tightening at the same time. For the first time in the history of the world, the economic catastrophe is not only imminent now, but it has started. Russia is turning into a large-scale Ponzi scheme. Howdy everyone, my name is Konstantin. Welcome to Inside Russia, where usual Russia is explained by the unusual Russian. Russia is... as usual, you will not find any lies, BS or propaganda here, but instead you will find truth, common sense, and logic, and some emotions, because I am a human being after all. Today's message will consist of 3 parts, as it usually does on Wednesdays. The message itself, then discussion at the live stream chat, and the prayer at the end. Now, let's talk about very sophisticated economic information explained. I'll try to explain it easily. I'll try to explain it in very easy way to understand. So before I tell you of this schizophrenia happening in Russia, I want you to know that what I'll be telling you today is very complicated, sophisticated economic information. It is usually studied when a person with economic degree wants to obtain master's degree in economics. And I'm trying to give it to you in a very simple way, in words that are very easy to understand. And I worked real hard to make it happen. So please like this message now, in advance. Thank you. Now let's talk about Russian economy and what is happening to it. Well, the advanced stuff. I want to warn you of something. Do not trust the words of anyone who tells you of Russian economy. The talk is cheap. Always fact check. They tell you that Russian economy is doing great. Hey, it's extremely easy to fact check. What is the key interest rate right now? 21%. What is the inflation rate? 29% real life inflation. What is the unemployment rate? 2.0%. What's the budget deficit? Anywhere from 3 to 6 trillion rubles, forecasted at 6. And that's going to happen in the next 3 weeks. We will see. These numbers paint us an instant picture of Russian economy. There's also one more economic indicator that paints us even the bigger picture, the more detailed picture. Does the economy currently undergo quantitative easing or quantitative tightening? When the economy is hot, when it grows, the central bank usually tries to manage the growth by increasing the key rate, therefore drying economy of money. It's done to keep the inflation in check. And vice versa. When economy struggles, when it's cold, so to speak, when it is in decline, the central bank tries to warm it up by infusing money. It lowers the key interest rate, making it not profitable to keep the money in the banks. Therefore, floods economy with money and tries to stimulate growth of the economy. So this is a monetary help to the economy, so to speak. Again, this is a very primitive explanation. Hey, but it's easy to understand, So please don't forget to like this message, if so far so good. Now, let's apply this very primitively described theory, but I think it's enough description to understand. So let's apply it to Russia and its economy. What do we have right now? The following are the facts that you need to know. Number one, Russia earns much less now due to the international trading sanctions, including exporting of oil and natural gas. Also due to a large number of taxpayers having left Russia or getting killed in Ukraine, and also due to a large number of personal and business bankruptcies. Russia spends so much more now. Number two, Russia spends so much more now that it earns due to the war it's been waging on Ukraine. That's very simple to understand. Russia needs more hardware, more weapons, more ammo, more people, and it pays a pretty penny for everything. So it spends so much more now. Number three, earning less and spending more creates a deficit of Russia's federal budget. At the end of 2024, the deficit is expected to be around 6.5 trillion rubles. That is so much more than was forecasted in the beginning of the year. Okay, but hey, I've been telling you all along not to listen to government's numbers. So it's easy to fact check, very soon, at the end of the year in 3 weeks, we will get the real number. And from what I understand, it's going to be around 6.5 trillion rubles. Insane. Number four, the federal budget deficit has been covered by Russia's savings account called the Fund of the National Welfare. For 2.5 years, this savings account has been covering all the deficit. Number five, the savings account, the Fund of National Welfare, has run dry. There's no money left. It's been used to cover up the deficit because Russia spends so much more and earns so much less. Number six, Russian central bank has been trying to keep the inflation under control as the order from the supreme dark leader, the Tsar of all Russia. The central bank has been increasing the key interest rate in the last 18 months. From 7%, it jumped to current 21%, all-time record in Putin's Russia. This is a classic economic policy of quantitative tightening. And fact number 7, and this is very important. The Russian government, the Ministry of Finance of Russian Federation, has been trying to borrow money to finance the budget deficit. And it has been trying to borrow very actively this year because, Russian economists and Russian government, they knew what was going on in the beginning of the year. Although they were giving us small numbers of budget deficit, they knew it was going to be 6.5 trillion rubles. So therefore, they've been trying to borrow money like crazy to cover it up. So let's make an analogy of the economic situation in Russia. Let's look at it under a different angle. So let's take a household. Imagine there's a household, a family of 4, a father, a mother, and 2 children. Dad works, earns $100,000 per year. Mom works part-time, earning $10,000 per year, and the kids go to school. The household expenses amount to $90,000 per year. So the family is frugal. They spend less than they earn, 20,000 less, and they save everything they are left with. One day, Dad's salary was some kind of economic trouble in the country, and one day Dad's salary is cut in half. He still works full-time, but now he earns twice as little. And Mom is laid off. She loses her part-time job. What are we gonna do? Kids ask. No worries, says the father. Since in the last 7 years, we earned well over what we spent, we saved, and now we have $100,000 in my 401k account, savings. So what I'm going to do now is to take all that money out of my 401k account and will finance the difference between what we earn and what we spend. We shall last a couple of years in this mode. And since the times are crazy now, and it might turn out that I will never find a better paying job for the rest of my life, and will stay at this level of earnings forever. So what we're gonna do is, instead of spending less as a family, to match our earnings, we'll spend more. We'll enjoy the things we couldn't enjoy before, we couldn't afford before. Now we have some extra cash, Kids, forget about your college. Forget about the future, It's not gonna happen. Honey, forget about our safe retirement. Let's live like these 2 years are the last days of our life. Let's knock ourselves out. And instead of spending cautiously and trying to balance the family budget, the family goes crazy, burning cash, buying expensive cars, going out to expensive restaurants, taking luxury vacations, buying expensive clothing, taking out credit cards as much as they can. And at the same time, the parents tell all the friends in the family, oh, you know what, we're doing great. Our financial situation is fantastic. I mean, look how we are spending. Look at the addition to the house. Look at the new garage. Look at the cars, Mercedes and a BMW. Look at the vacation we went to in Hawaii. We stayed in such an expensive hotel. In reality, behind the scenes, the husband is making so much less money than he was before, the dad. And Mom is out of work. Ha! So they live like this for 2 years, and then the savings and the retirement money dry out. And the credit card bills are due to pay. And the bills, mortgage and car payments and everything else, need to be paid. And this family, Mom and Dad, they go out and try to borrow more money to maintain their expensive lifestyle even a little longer. But the thing is, no one wants to lend them money. And this is exactly where Russia is right now. Before I jump into the next section, I would like to tell you of the schizophrenia that is going on, the madness. I would like to take this opportunity to thank you again. I thank you every time. And thank you again for supporting, for helping. Thank you for praying along with me. Thank you for sending me messages of encouragement and love. Thank you for watching these videos and liking them and commenting them. Thank you for just sending love. I really appreciate it. I feel it. I appreciate it, and I'm so grateful for that. Thank you for buying me coffees at buymecoffee.com. Thank you for being patrons, and thank you for PayPal Friends, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. You've been an incredible help and support in these hard times. Still demonetized by YouTube. I still don't know what's going on. I still have no clue how it's going to turn out in the future. So thank you again. So Russia, back into the message, Russia spends significantly more than it earns. And to finance the deficit, it tries to borrow money. They can't borrow abroad any longer. Abroad, where in the international financial markets, where money is plentiful and cheap, Russia is sanctioned. So they try to borrow inside Russia. But who do you borrow from inside Russia? From businesses, from the corporations, from banks, and from people. So, do you know what happens? No one wants to lend Russian government. The government bonds are offered at increasingly high interest rate, 16.5% currently. And the short term are offered at around 20%. That is an insanity. Imagine if the US government bonds would be offered at 16.5%. Even at this high rate, no one wants to buy them. They simply do not trust Russian government. They simply think that even 16.5% annuity is not lucrative enough to invest into Russian state papers, Russian securities. No borrowing is happening. But the deficit is here, and it needs to be financed. How can you finance the deficit? You can raise taxes. They're doing it, but the raise is, it starts January 1st. It's coming up. So they're going to be financing a part of the budget deficit of 2025 through the taxes. Okay, it's impossible to do it now in 2024. So they raise different fines and fees. They raise everything that they basically can raise, duty, taxes, they raise everything that the government can get the hands on. So there is a plan for the Ministry of Finance for 2024 to borrow money. And that's about 5 trillion rubles. So far they borrowed under 2. The plan is bust, and that's almost the end of the year. So here it begins. The quantitative easing. Russian central bank at the very end of 2024 starts doing the auctions called repo. Now, I'm trying to explain it in simple words. On November 25th, Russian central bank issued 1 trillion digital rubles and lent it to that 1 trillion rubles, digital rubles, to commercial banks with a promise from the banks to use that trillion rubles to buy the government bonds that no one wants to buy. And the bonds the government bonds, they have been bought, and the money to finance the deficit have been received. And the deficit will be financed, and the inflation will be increased even more, much, much more. In just a couple weeks from now, we will see a huge hike. 1 trillion ruble has been issued and poured into the economy. The central bank doesn't hold any physical money. It's a regulator. what it can do is issue digital money. And this is a fairly fresh federal law, very young. It was, I believe, created about 2 years ago. Very convenient now. This is exactly what the central bank did. It issued a trillion ruble digital money. This isn't your classical quantitative easing. You know, a lot of pro-Kremlin economists started screaming, oh, you know, look at the United States of America. They do it all the time. This is a very classic instrument called quantitative easing. Well, this is not really true. This is more like printing money, only digital money, issuing digital money, and supplying the Ministry of Finance with that digital money to balance federal budget deficit. Now, this is exactly what the problem is. This is why I call Russian government policies, current policies, economic schizophrenia. Quantitative easing is used to warm the economy, to boost demand. The more money all have, the more they spend. Therefore, the higher the demand for goods and services. The more goods and services are sold, produced and sold. And in Russia, there's already much more money than products. Remember, Russian economy produces mostly weapons now. The weapons do not add value to the economy. The weapons, the missiles, they are shot at Ukraine and blow up there, killing people. And they add zero value to the economy, okay? And the central bank has been trying to dry Russian economy of that excess of money mass created by the war economy to keep the inflation under control. And the central bank raises the key interest rate to record high to motivate people to keep the money in the banks and to earn interest rather than go to stores and simply spending those money, simply to spend those money. At the same time, that that's what the Russian central bank has been doing with one hand. At the very same time, now, it takes another hand. And with this hand, at the same time, it issues another trillion rubles and pours it into Russian economy. The central bank is trying to extract money from the economy and simultaneously creates and pours in more money into the economy. Make no mistake, again, it's not giving money to the economy so it grows. Instead, it's just printing money to patch up the difference between what Russia earns and what it spends. And again, remember, it spends way more than it earns. This is economic madness. They certainly can get away with it in the short run, in a few months. Okay, they, literally not longer than a few months. On paper, Russian budget will be balanced. There will be enough money, enough funds to balance the budget. But in the Russian stores, people will see another significant hike in prices just in a couple weeks. It's not around the corner, it's right there. Where do you think that trillion rubles is going to go to? This schizophrenia is a sign that the central bank has lost. You see, there's been a war going on between the central bank and the Siloviki, the military-industrial complex, and I made a live stream. I dedicated the entire hour explaining how these two groups within Russian government have been fighting. The central bank lost. The Siloviki and the military-industrial complex have won. Russian central bank has been trying to keep the economy balanced. But right now, there is a bigger need to keep the war going. So the central bank was ordered and it obeyed. Again, what it's doing right now doesn't make any economic sense. Economists out there, please let me know down below in the comments, what do you think of this situation? Have you ever even heard somewhere about this happening in other countries? I personally have not. Never heard that. It's either tightening or easing. So, folks, this is madness. The only alternative, well, I started to think about a bigger picture, okay? And I understand, and I think I'm right. The only alternative to this schizophrenia is to freeze and seize all personal bank deposits. Basically, government would steal all the money Russian people keep in the banks in their accounts. That is a very unpopular measure, but guess what? They've been talking about it for the past 6 months. They've been toying with it. They've been playing around with it, you know. The Minister of Finance brought this idea to Vladimir Putin. He said, you know what, Russians have too much money in their savings bank accounts. About 40 trillion rubles. We can use this money to take it and to, use it for a better cause. That would be the answer to all our problems. So no one said anything serious about that. But once you start hearing these things in the Russian media from Russian government, you know that it's being discussed. So anyway, so that decision would have been much more unpopular. We actually saw that happen once. Back in 1990, when the USSR was in a very similar situation financially as Russia is in now, it was falling apart. It was even in a worse situation. So back then, overnight, what it did, the Pavlovsky reform, that's what it was. The Minister of Finance, Pavlov, he just froze all deposits in Russian bank, Soviet bank of all people. And the the Soviet government just seized all the money. Well, guess what happened soon after? Pavlovskaya Reforma happened in 1990, in the late second part of 1990. And in 1991, the USSR fell apart. Soon after. So they decided not to steal people's money for now. And I call it, they chose the bad instead of the ugly, instead of the worse, okay? But this is still a one-way road. Because we also see we have another historic lesson in Russia, also from way back. This tool, repo auctions, was used heavily in Russia starting from 1994 to 1998. And it didn't end well. In 1998, Russian government accumulated so much debt, it could not service it anymore. So it declared default. So basically, it stole all the money of people, that investors, companies that trusted it. And the very same method called repo auctions was used. And it led Russia to absolute financial collapse in 1998. And many people, many companies could not survive that. doesn't make any sense. Again, what Russian government is doing is crazy, is insane. Schizophrenia. It can save life of Russian economy for a very short time, for a few months. Well, why are they doing it then? I think that they're hoping that someone has a magic wand. And that magic wand is the President Donald Trump. I think that Russian leadership, Vladimir Putin, his minions, Russian economists, the head of central bank, they all hope that somehow Donald Trump will become the president of the United States soon. And somehow he will help Russia. He will turn the situation into Russia's favor. And the war will be over. Ceasefire or a peace will be achieved. But what is the main point is they believe that Russia will be free to trade with the world again and to earn more money. The sanctions will be magically uplifted. If someone uses a magic wand, then this policy actually makes sense, okay? Because it prolongs life. Once the situation changes for Russia in Russia's favor, then they will start coming up with a new economic policy. The thing is, I think they're wrong. I think there's no magic wand. I'm afraid it's going to be a very hard landing for Russia. And this is where we will see the end of the current situation for Russia, okay, in the coming few years, because this is it. Economically, the situation happening right now is not sustainable. Russian government, siloviki, those agencies armed with weapons and laws to use violence against Russian people and regular Russian people are going to see the end very soon. At the end of the economy, of course. And guess what? The regular Russian folks will pick up the bill. It'll be their price to pay for what they have allowed to be done in Ukraine. It will be their price, just a part of a price to pay for being politically inactive for the decades, allowing Vladimir Putin to seize all the power, to strip them all the rights, to accumulate absolute power in his hands. It's their price to pay for forgetting that the Russian people are also we other people. And it's going to be a very hard landing and very, very large bill. Friends, thank you so very much. That has been my message for today. I invite everyone to join me in a live stream chat. Like this message if you haven't done so already. Before I turn the live stream chat on, I'd like to remind you of the Formula 54 I have come up with. 54 news per week, Russian news of everything that is important and matters in Russia. 9 news per day. I carefully select and comment and analyze and make them available to patrons of Inside Russia once a day, except for Sunday. 9 news per day that are important. If you want to stay on top of things in Russia, you know where to look. Become a patron Inside Russia and get access to all the news that will keep you informed. Thank you. And everyone, welcome to the live stream chat. Fantastic to see you. If you're here for the first time, I'd like to tell you that this is definitely the best community on internet and on YouTube, and it has the best moderation team. Lorna, Mammy K, Bob S, Harry Potman, Amir, and Dirk. The best, great friends and the best mods. Very simple, the best mods. Thank you, friends, for keeping this community clean, safe, and pleasant. And everyone else, Fantastic to see you, the usual suspects and the newcomers. I will try to answer all the questions, and this is my actually the most favorite part of any stream, when I see real people. This chat comes alive, and then real people start communicating. So thank you. As usual, if you want me to notice your message or comment easier, please put it in all caps and put inside Russia after @ so it's highlighted in orange, large orange box for me, just like Baker Stock, VJ John, and Bob S did. Thank you, friends. Howdy. So what do you think of today's message? What do you think? Any economists out there? Please comment. I would like to hear your opinion. To me, it's sheer madness, and be honest with you, friends, I am watching this whole thing with my eyes wide open and my jaw dropped. I mean, I know I've been saying about the economic tsunami all along for 2.5 years, but when you actually find yourself in the water, trust me, it's one thing to say about that, and it's another thing to feel cold water spinning you around, and you can't breathe. That's a completely different feeling. So, Airborne Snail, Terry, Angela, Lorna, Mammy, Dennis Heike from Sweden, howdy. Roy Cousins from London, of course, George Rames, Bakerstock, Pamela, Lectrix from England, Ariel Campbell, howdy, Paul Holtz, Great Southern Land, Scott Nesbitt, Pat Scully, The Underdog, present, good to see you. Erin O'Brien Regan, howdy. Erk, Veronica Mifsad, long time no see. Hyde Henke from the Netherlands, howdy. Rob, a bit of rough, thank you. Per Haglin, hello from Stockholm. Oh, we have FA-18 Super Hornet multi-all fighter jet. Heavens. I'm not people, I'm jet. Are you just jetting by, or you're staying, landing? Sonny, Sam the Legend K, Terry, Dale, Real Larry Barth. That's good to know. Was your account hacked? Because that's a new one. Anyway, I'll jump into the comments highlighted in orange and that are in all caps. First one comes from Sam the Legend K. Heads up, Joe Blogg's main account was hacked again and this is shut down by the hackers. Well, I am very sorry to hear that. Second time it was hacked about 6 months ago. Can happen to any of us, Just Terry, is this money going to disappear or go round in circles? 1 trillion rubles was well, it's not going to disappear, but also it will not run in circles. Well, money never disappears. Money's I tell you what, the digital money is a new concept in the economy. You can create digital money with just a few strokes of a keyboard, right? So it can disappear, but it can be created easily. It's the same as a real money, only real money you have to go through a process to print them. That costs a lot of money and it's a long process. You can't create 1 trillion rubles overnight. You can with a digital money. So this is how it's going to go. Banks get loans on paper, not real money. They get deposits, digital deposits in their accounts. Then they turn around and they go to the Ministry of Finance and buy, for this digital money, they buy government bonds for 1 trillion rubles. And then the government receives that 1 trillion digital rubles and starts spending it, covering the deficit. Most of this will go to the military-industrial complex to create more missiles, to pay the people who create missiles, create ammo, create tanks and planes and everything, you know. And those people take that money as salary, and then they will spend it buying goods and services, food, etc. Some of that money will go to subcontractors, to businesses, again, and then there will be profit created, income tax paid, and so forth. You know, that money will return to the budget. And this is how it's going to go in the circle, so to speak. But the thing is, inflation will eat up most of that money, well, a great chunk of that money in 2025. So it'll disappear. Money will still be there, but the value will disappear. The amount of goods and services that 1 trillion rubles will be able to buy is going to be so much less. The value will disappear. This is what's going to happen to this money. They know. Those sons of guns, they know, okay? I hope I explained. Dale, thank you so much. Thank you. Real Larry Barth says hello. Larry, good to see you from Canada. Fast Son, my first live stream. Welcome, friend. I hope you like it, and I hope you keep on coming back. We have 4,000 people right now. It's a small stadium. It's every time I see the numbers and they're large, I get very excited, I get amazed, and I'm very thankful. Thank you for coming and spending time with me and with us. Thank you. VJ John, a question. How long will it take for the Russian economy to recover after the war? Oh, that's a good one. Mr. VJ John, it's going to take decades. Again, depending on what Russia does after the end of the war. If Russia, let's say, I'm being very primitive in my explanation right now. Let's say Russia becomes good or it continues being bad. If it continues being bad, I'm afraid it can turn into a North Korea, and it can stay that way for decades. Look, the North Korea has been there since 1955. So Russia can repeat the very same steps. If it becomes good, the possibilities are open. It depends on what Russia does. It depends if it repents, Russian people repent. It depends if they admit the guilt, the fault. They somehow will have to make amends with the Ukrainians, some kind of peaceful agreement, reparations to rebuild Ukraine, prove that Russia is good not by just saying that, but by doing things. And then the international community will probably accept Russia back. And then I don't know what kind of... So it's going to be much easier and faster to recover for Russia if it embraces the side of the good. If you are to give Russia to me, into my hands, and I'd be responsible for creating and implementing economic policies, I could turn Russia around in 3 to 4 years. It's a very rich country, rich in natural resources. And if those resources are used in the right way, then Russia can become the best country in the world in terms of the economy. The rumors are that $1 trillion US dollars have been stolen and taken out of Russia in the 24 years in Putin's Russia by, the officials. 1 trillion. Okay, that's a lot of money. Take that money and, Russia is not such a big of a country in terms of economic development as the Western countries, the USA, Canada. Russia is a large country territorially, but it doesn't have that many people. 140 million people, that's it. You can take that money and you can use it, apply economic policies that would totally change the country. It would be, I don't know, shining flower. Ariel Campbell, yes, it is English breakfast today, extra strong by Twinings. I still have plenty. Last time I went abroad, I bought lots of tea, like almost a suitcase full of tea, so I'm still drinking now. Whew, and that's good. Thank you. Moses, Jesus, Constantine, could you please tell us what an email is? I can't find your email. I would like to send you email. Look, my email is in the About section in the description of this channel. It's right there. Only for some odd reason you have to use your desktop computer. It does not show on the telephone. But if you use desktop, then go to the About section. You'll find it right there. Robert, I have always thought that sanctions are like rust. You don't think that everything is okay for years and then it sneaks up on you? Not really, no, I totally disagree with you. The sanctions are applied to take immediate effect. Otherwise, why do you need sanctions, For example, Russia is forbidden to sell oil at a certain price in its immediate effect. Their long-term effect is definitely like rust, okay? But that's a side effect. The immediate effect is to strip Russia of cash, to take a hit, to make a hit to the military-industrial complex. So it produces less ammo, less weapons, fewer planes, fewer missiles. This is what it is. Everything else it's called secondary sanctions, and they are also, their effect is like rust. So this is what I think. Earl Lucky, whoa, long time no see, friend. How are you? It's good to see you. I think it's been a couple of years. A lot of things have changed, but I'm still the same, and I am very glad to see you. Elsha, very complicated apart from magic wand. Look, I tried to make it so as easy as possible. I'm sorry if I failed, but I tried. Very sophisticated economic knowledge and economic information here. Leitmotif from Maryland, how are you? David Porter from Ukraine, from Chernovtsi. David, please forgive us. So every time I hear of another bombing from Russia, I think of you, your family. I hope you're staying safe. The downfall should be soon. It will be soon. One way or another, it will be soon. And I don't think I just hope that they don't sell Ukraine out. Okay. They just don't agree on Russia's terms. That would be the worst possible outcome. So let's hope and pray. But I send prayers to you and your family and everyone in Chernovtsi every single day. Leflop, hi, did you hear that Russia has now set tariffs on Chinese furniture? Do you think that Russia China friendship will hold much longer. There is no Russia-China friendship. China has been using Russia in every single way possible, using and abusing. It's the Russians who have been saying, oh, China is our friend, China will help us out. My gosh, why would Chinese do that? I did not hear of this particular news that Russia has set tariffs on the Chinese furniture parts, but I definitely heard that China has stopped supplying Russia all the electronics, all the components, all everything that even potentially could be used in the production of weapons. Okay, Chinese have tightened that up. That's friendship for you. Andrew Baker, howdy. I agree with a falsity of the magic wand. There will be more confusion, which will have unforeseen effects. Okay. Andrew, another analogy I have is that imagine there is a competition. Let's say there's a 100-meter, 100 yards run, sprint, and runners. There's a runner, his life depends on the outcome. If he loses, he might die. He definitely is going to be jailed or else. Okay? And if he wins, then things might turn out well. He might get big reward. He might get a great job, And then he comes to a doctor and says, look, do everything that is possible to empower me. Do the experimental drugs, do the steroids, do just anything you can hand your hands on. Because it says, look, if I administer this, your liver might fail in a week. He says, yeah, I don't care, because in a week I might be dead, okay? And this is what they might be doing right now. They don't care. If they don't win, Russian economy is going to be somebody else's problem. Not Putin's, not Silanov's, not Nabiullina's, somebody else's. My problem. My comrade's problem, the Tashkent Breakfast Club problem, okay? But if they win, hey, they win, they're going to be the winners, and they might do something else, okay? There will be options for them. I think this could be how Russia is governed right now. Chris Angel, what is the process of removing sanctions and why does it take so long to remove them? Now, there's a very good example. The amendment called, in the United States, it was created, called the Jackson-Vanik Amendment. It was created in 1974, I believe. And it was aimed against the USSR, and it forbade to sell the USSR the latest computer technology. The USSR fell apart in 1991. The Jackson-Vanik Amendment stood until 2012. 21 years after the USSR fell. Okay? That's how difficult was to remove it. Sanctions are easy to create, very difficult to lift. And I believe they're not going to be removed after Donald Trump will become the president. No way. No way. But many people in Russia believe it. I wonder why. Sometimes I think that they get us believe something. Otherwise, they will die of stress, of worrying. They gotta believe something. That's what they believe. Well, we'll see soon. Don't ask me anything about the U.S. administration, the current, the future. We will see very soon. Just wait until the inauguration date. That we will get a clear idea of where the United States is heading towards. And please don't discuss it, because there's nothing to discuss, really. Greetings from Brit in Los Angeles. Rob, again, howdy. I didn't read your message. Airborne Snail, Maurice, howdy. Steffi, good to see you. Indiscreet One. Airborne Snail is probably the most memorable nick I've ever seen. Blab Project from Bulgaria. Howdy, friend. Good to see you. Tracy Stones. If you're going to listen to this again to understand it better, it means that I did not a very good job. Not a very good job today. Well, friends, I tried. Thank you. Thank you for giving me a chance. William R. from Cincinnati, Ohio. Yelena Arrington, good to see you. Ariel, long time no see, good to see you. Again, long time no see. Yes, fantastic for you to come back. Great Southern Land has a question. Do all these stopgap Band-Aid economic measures suggest the pension fund is gone? They don't suggest, they prove. They prove it's gone. Right now, it consists of about 4 trillion rubles, but there's a catch. First is half of it in gold, physical gold, half of it in Chinese yuan, and the Chinese don't want to take Russian, they call it dirty yuan, originated from Russia. So it's not that easy to make these assets that are inside, not pension, but National Welfare Fund, left to sell them, so they're not very liquid. That's one thing. Another thing is, I was talking about the deficit in the Russian federal budget. This is just one thing. Imagine this. There are industries, and they mostly belong to Russian government. For example, the aviation industry, the airlines come tomorrow to Vladimir Putin, say, hey, bail us out. We need 500 billion rubles. Because why? Well, you know what? You shut down eight airports in the southern Russia. We have lost so many routes. We have lost the planes. Our planes are falling apart. We're paying so much. And that's your fault, Putin. That's you. We were doing fine before the war. Of course, they're not going to say that directly. But, I mean, we understand. That's exactly the message. And they get to say, we want you to bail us out, and Putin will bail them out. The aviation industry will come, the railroad will come, the Russian banks, oh my gosh, you wait until Russian banks start getting bust. It's going to be a domino effect. And the big ones, such as VTB, will come and say, hey, Vladimir, we need at least 1 trillion rubles. Otherwise, we're going to go down, and we are too big to fail. We fail, Russia fails along with us. And then Putin will have to come up with 1 trillion rubles somewhere, and that most likely will come in the form of gold or the Chinese yuan. Things like that. There are so many. There's a wave of trouble, financial trouble is coming, and it's right there. It's tsunami that you can see it right in front of you already, okay? And that's going to happen very soon. That's why they're waiting for this to end very, very soon. If it doesn't end soon, Russia is in big trouble. Putin is in trouble. He knows that. If Trump doesn't bail him out, which I don't see reason why Trump would. Donald Trump is American president, after all, not Russian president. But somehow Putin and many Russians have this maniac faith that Donald Trump is out there for Russia. Okay, so I think that please let's not discuss it here. I'm just telling you what they think in Russia. Okay, I don't think it's true. I think Trump is out for America. He wants to do whatever he wants to do inside America. Okay, and then he's using Russia. Well, again, we'll see soon. Just a couple weeks left, really. Ted Brooks, has Assad come to Kremlin with billions in gold for Putin? Aussie Ted. Ted, I don't think so. I think that Putin took him to show that Putin is, to show the world he's man of his word, and then he promised Assad protection and all of that. But I think that a lot of money will be taken from Assad, not by Putin, but by the vertical of power, by the KGB, but people who want to enrich themselves. Okay, they're serving Putin, they're serving him well, they are obeying all the orders, but hey, they have a power to forage for themselves, and this is what they're going to be doing. And I think that Assad is in a very tight spot. He's going to lose lots of money. Gloria, happy Christmas. Happy Christmas to you. Merry Christmas. I think it's a little too early to say that, but it's okay. I like it. Maranto T33. You need two-factor authentication, and I think you're talking about YouTube. Sandy Wells from Australia, howdy. Okay, so Keith from Hawaii, sending my love all the way to the Pacific. RC Roscoe 461. Very good to have you back. We missed you. Paul from the Netherlands. I'm feeling better today, but still at not my 100% best, Alu, Assad got an apartment in a tall building with big windows. I've been to that building where he bought the apartments. Those apartments, their windows don't open ever. They're not designed to open. That's skyscrapers. But he has windows in his mansion outside Moscow in Rublevka. Accidents happen. One of the fellows fell out of his basement window and died. Okay, so I don't think that it will happen to Assad, though. I think that they will send him back to Syria or to Hague or, Bob, thank you so much for the time reminder. A couple minutes and that's it. D, good to see you. Can you imagine Russia ever trading all its nukes for economic aid in the future? No. No, unless it becomes democratic. You see, the nukes are needed not to Russian people. They are needed to one person who holds absolute power over Russia. He needs it as insurance. He needs it as a weapon. He needs it as a baseball bat he can, beat others with. If Russia continues to be the country of one strong man, then not a chance. The nukes are there to stay. If Russia becomes democratic, then yes, anything is possible. The thing is, Russia does not need to economic aid to prosper. Russia has plenty of resources itself. It needs good economic policies. It needs fair and honest courts. Okay, and it needs siloviki, the policeman, and the KGB that protects the people and serves the people. That's it. Hel Porter, good to see you. Putin. I don't know. Daniel McInnes, good to see you. Thank you so much. Roman Beck, I wonder if any of the new retirees has reached a pension of $500. At least someone in Moscow. I'm not sure the question. I understand the question. 500, which is 50,000 rubles. Well, pensions like that do exist. They exist for the former military officers. They exist for former high-ranked cops, for the senators, for the officials, governors. They exist for cops. Did I mention cops? Ariel, do you mean Putin needs it like a form of leverage? Well, yes, that's what I mean. He needs something to its insurance of his power. Leverage, yes. His country and his power, his personal power. You know what I really like? Dirk, time reminder. This is it. We're wrapping up. A couple things I would like to say before I invite to join me for a prayer. Friends, I really like seeing this number. There are 3,400, 300, 700. Take this cup of, give me some credit. It's not really easy to sit in front of the camera, keep all these numbers, concepts in your head, lay them out, and then answer the questions. It's like a live Q&A session all the time. So please forgive me for, losing the words sometimes. So right now there are 3,661 people, and that's incredible. It means that most of people who watch the message, they stay for live stream chat and for the prayer. Thank you, friends. Thank you so much. Tomorrow there will be an update. I missed the live stream yesterday. I wasn't feeling too well, but it's nothing major. Okay, it's we both got common cold and then light symptoms. Me and Natasha, she's a little worse than I am. I'm a little better. I am more or less back to normal with, anyway, I'll recover in a couple of days. So the schedule, it stays the same, streaming every single day. Tuesday and Monday and Thursday are live stream chats. The rest are not. Tomorrow, Wednesday, Wacky Wednesday news report. There are plenty of news I'd like to cover. Then there will be a live stream chat with a message on Thursday, and I'm trying to release a video on Saturday. There will be a private live stream for patrons on Saturday, and after that, I hope to release a video. So, but it takes a lot of time to make that. So, again, thank you very much for coming. Thank you for giving me a chance. Fantastic to see everyone, and I would like everyone to join me for prayer to finish this live stream with a prayer as usual. Thank you. Dear Lord Jesus Christ, thank you so much for giving us this day. Thank you for the food that you've placed on our tables, the roofs that you've given over our heads. Thank you for the loved ones we're surrounded with. Thank you for our families. Please give us wisdom to keep the skies above our children's heads safe and peaceful. Give us wisdom to raise our children in a way that when they grow up, they will not participate in any wars. They will be peaceful, friends to each other, they will love each other, and they will make this world a better place. For now, please keep our children healthy and safe. Dear Lord, I'm asking for Ukraine, for the country that has suffered so much for nothing. I'm asking for all people of Ukraine, please give them peace and the bloodshed. Have it stopped. Reach out and touch the hearts and souls of those who are capable of making this decision. Remind them that they're human beings. They're still human beings. Wake them up from their lethargic sleep. Fill their hearts with empathy, so they make that decision to stop the bloodshed. And please help every Ukrainian who has been affected. Answer their dreams, prayers, and make the dreams come true. Dear Lord, please help my country, Russia, assemble your strongest angels with sharpest swords into an army. Have Saint Michael lead it. Have that army come down to the earth and get rid of demons that have hijacked my country, Russia. Please send your angels so they help Russians, good Russians, to run the country, make it peaceful, loving, and respecting. Dear Lord, help everyone who is traveling right now, send safe travels. Everyone who is in trouble of any kind, in dire straits, send safety. Please help those who are seeking for asylum of any kind, running away from danger, alone or with their families. Please help single mothers and fathers who are struggling, raising their children, trying to make ends meet. Please help those who are helping Ukrainians in Ukraine. Please help those who are helping others right now, volunteering. Please send safety to those people in Ukraine who under a possibility of attacks from Russian missiles. Dear Lord, please help everyone in need. Please help the sick, the hungry, the cold, the homeless, the jobless, the addicted, the depressed, the ones who are crying, the ones who are losing their faith, the ones who are betrayed, who are feeling alone in this world. Please reach out and touch their hearts. Let them know that you're still with them, watching every step they take, in helping them. You have not left them, and you still love them, and you're still with them. Please help everyone in need. Dear Lord, thank you for allowing us to come together and pray. Thank you for everyone who is praying right now along with me. Thank you for every one of 3,359 people. Thank you for those who are simply watching us right now, watching us pray. Please help everyone, answer everyone's prayer, and have everyone's dream come true. Dear Lord, I want to ask you for help to those people who need it, who need your help. They are Ann Larson, her daughter Hannah, Jeffrey S., and the members of family, Alex, Mark, Tom W., Gabin with Gary, Lisa, Harry and family, Terry, John, Linda, Paula W., Dennis, Jason, Susie Mailer, Tim, Dory, Rhonda, John, Taylor, Wayne, Dave, Don, Darla, George, Pamela, Meta, David Porter, his family, and everyone who's in Chernovtsi, Ukraine, Leif, Randolph, Grace. Please send help to Grace. Dean Spooner and his church, Yelena, Natasha, Michael, Jake, Oля, Dasha and Sky, Svetlana, Sergey, Liz, Ron, Liz, Koshkin Dom, Sandra, Mike and Mike, Petra, Joseph, Melissa, Jodes, Millie, Philip, Eileen, Highwayman, Pamela, Holy, Victor, Renate, Janice Burgess, Derek Martinez. Please help all the children from Ukraine who have been separated from their families. Have them reunite with their parents. Please help all the children who have been affected by wars. Thank you so much, dear Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Thank you, friends. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being with me, listening to me, and praying with me. I would like to remind you that you are awesome and you rock. You're absolutely awesome and you rock. Thank you. Very grateful for you. I will see you tomorrow. And as usual, before I sign off, I would like to ask you to say along with me, as loud as you can, the following. Carthago delenda est.